All right, let's talk about crypto, but forget everything you think you know from the old headlines. Because here in 2026, the story isn't just about people getting rich overnight anymore. No, it's about something way bigger, a real, fundamental shift in how we all think about and use money. We're going to dive into how crypto went from this tiny, niche experiment to a full-blown global financial system, and, what that actually means for all of us.
This quote, this is the dream that started it all, right? It's from a software engineer who put just $3,000 into Bitcoin way back in 2010. Back then, a single coin was like 15 cents. A few years later, the guy was a multimillionaire traveling the world in first class. For the longest time, stories just like that were the entire story of crypto.
But as amazing as those stories are, they're really just chapter one. Today, the story is so much bigger. We're talking about a global system, a whole new kind of economy with more than 500 million people in it. So let's break down how we got from that one person's dream trip to this massive, interconnected new world of finance.
To really understand where we are now, we kind of have to look at who got us here in the first place. So let's start with the people, the really diverse group of individuals who saw the potential when no one else did, and basically lit the fuse on this whole revolution.
What's so cool here is just how different all these success stories are. You've got a student who became a millionaire by 17, all from a gift from his grandma. Then there's an IT apprentice who used his gains to buy his very first house. It's not just tech geniuses, it's retirees who are loving life and professionals who are quietly building crypto into their long-term pension plans. Success in this space really does look different for everybody.
All right, so from those really personal stories, let's pull the camera back, and I mean way back. We need to get a sense of the sheer scale of this thing, because it's definitely not just a few early birds anymore. This is a global phenomenon.
Just look at that number for a second. 559 million. That's roughly how many people around the globe own cryptocurrency right now. This is not a niche hobby anymore, folks. It's a financial network that has more people in it than the entire population of the United States. That's a scale that traditional finance just cannot ignore. So who are these 500 million people? Well, the data shows a pretty clear trend. Young adults, especially in that 25 to 34 age range, are really leading the way. But, and this is a big but, there's a major gender gap. Across pretty much every age group, men are almost twice as likely to own crypto as women. And that highlights a huge challenge, but also a huge opportunity for this thing to grow even more. But here it is, the most important question of all. What can you actually do with crypto? For it to really, truly go mainstream, it has to be more than just some digital gold you hang on to forever. It needs to be something you can use. And that right there is the biggest shift we're seeing today, the move away from just speculating towards everyday spending. And we're not talking about small, obscure online shops anymore. We are talking about massive global brands. You can pay your AT&T phone bill. You can grab a coffee at Starbucks or a burrito at Chipotle. You can even buy luxury stuff from Gucci. Big online platforms like Shopify let literally thousands of stores accept crypto. This isn't some sci-fi future. It's happening at the checkout counter right now.
So what about the giants that don't accept crypto directly yet? Like Amazon or Walmart? Well, there's a really clever workaround people call the gift card bridge. Basically, you use platforms like Bitrefill or Gift. You use your crypto to buy a gift card for pretty much any major store you can think of. And then you just spend that gift card like cash. It's a super simple but really powerful way to connect the crypto economy with the traditional one.
Okay, so we've seen who's using crypto and where they're spending it. Now let's pop the hood for a minute and take a quick look at the tech that makes all this possible. We're going to talk about how these massive networks actually agree on what's true and what's not. So at the heart of any blockchain is this thing called a consensus mechanism. It sounds super technical, I know, but it's just a fancy term for the rulebook. It's the system that all the computers on the network use to agree on which transactions are legit and, this is the important part, who gets the reward for keeping the public ledger updated. So here are the two main ways they do it. On the left, you've got Bitcoin's method, proof of work. The best way to think of this is like a global competition. All these powerful computers called miners are in a race to solve a really hard puzzle. The first one to solve it wins and gets to update the blockchain. On the right, you've got what Ethereum uses, proof of stake. This is way more like a lottery. People, called validators, lock up their own coins as collateral, and that gets them a ticket for a random drawing to see who gets the job. So, a competition versus a lottery, that's really the key difference. So here we are. We've got this massive, growing economy, all powered by some pretty revolutionary tech. But just like any new frontier, it's got its own set of rules, its own opportunities, and some very real dangers. Let's dig into how this new world is being governed and
and where all the traps are hidden.
You know, countries are now literally competing with each other to become crypto hubs, and their biggest weapon is taxes. In the UAE, for individuals, there's zero income or crypto tax. In places like Portugal and Malta, you pay nothing on your long-term gains. And check out Germany. If you just hold your crypto for more than a year, any profit you make is totally tax-free. This stuff is creating innovation hotspots all over the world. But of course, with all this opportunity comes a ton of risk. And the scams out there are getting more sophisticated than you can possibly imagine. This new frontier has brand new predators, and it is absolutely essential that you know what they look like.
Okay, it is so critical to pay attention to these new threats. We are way beyond just spotting a sketchy email now. Scammers are using AI deepfakes to perfectly imitate the voice and video of your boss or even a family member. They're running these horrible pig butchering scams where they build trust with you for months before stealing everything. They create perfect fake login pages to get your private keys. And please remember the golden rule. If an online giveaway says you need to send them crypto to get more back, it is always a scam, 100% of the time.
And really, that brings us to the final thought. As crypto moves from the fringes right into the center of our economy, the whole conversation is changing. It's becoming less about the risk of buying in and more about the risk of just being left behind, of not understanding what's going on. The biggest gamble in 2026 might not be investing in crypto, but choosing to ignore this massive shift in finance. So the question is, are you prepared for it?